Oh boy, do I got something for you guys today. It's the Urban Nerd, or Ronan. You can call me Ronan. And today, I'm going to give you my 1 year review of the Dean Edge 02 bass. Now, I love this bass. Alright? I love this bass quite a bit. It's a very fun bass to play like It's a very fun bass to play. Very lightweight. You know, I can have it balanced mostly on normally with just my arm. The headstock is pretty beautiful. So a little bit of a story about this bass as to why I bought this very cheap Dean bass, right? So, as you may have guessed, I am pretty broke. In the background may look like, oh, I'm living okay, but I don't have a lot of money, so. And I've always been influenced by, all of my heroes. I always loved them playing Rickenbackers. Geddy Lee, like. Yeah, I'm not very good at it yet. But anyway, all of my heroes either played Fender Jazz or Rickenbackers. And my heroes are Cliff Burton, Geddy Lee, Tomomi from Scandal, the girl from Band Aid, the bass player for Bandmate. Yes, I'm influenced mostly by Japanese bands. A lot of stuff like that. And so obviously I don't have $2,000 to buy a Rickenbacker. I really wish I did, but hey, I gotta work for it. I'm a human being. Anyway, so I was looking for a bass that could get that same bottom end, devoid of any kind of modifications. And so I went onto the Dean store and I found this. After I found the Edge 9 bass, which we'll talk about in a minute. That one was something too. But allow me to explain this bass. It has two humbuckers. So it's just like if you ever had a Music Man, think of Music Man but twice the power. Very boomy, especially when you play fortissimo. It has a very beautiful basswood neck, and I love basswoods and I love walnut. The wood here is walnut, while the back is basswood. Now, I love this neck a lot, even though it's very skinny, and here's why. Unlike a maple neck, you can actually shine this thing and clean it without messing up the gloss. And that's perfect. Every time I'm looking at any kind of Fender, be it precision or jazz, the first thing I say is, damn, I really wish they used different kinds of necks without me having to buy a whole new one, because I personally like only having just a little bit of oil on my neck to give it that, clean shine. I've never been a fan of having a bunch of gloss because I think the gloss gets sticky on my fingers when I play. And every time I go to a Guitar Center, I just can't stand that gloss. I really can't. Rickenbacker, it's much more tolerable because the gloss goes away eventually and stuff like that. And it's a Rickenbacker. But yeah. Very solid body, very solid basswood body. You're gonna get a lot of mid-range kind of stuff from it. You're gonna get a lot of stuff like that, and this bass, it's super fun. Oh my goodness, I had this bass for about roughly 2 years. I played it on and off. I just started recently playing a lot more actively because I want to be a bit of a composer now, and I want a bass to be my composition instrument. And I like this bass because it offers every kind of tool that you need as a beginning bass player. With this bass, I could play it like a Rickenbacker, I could play it like a Fender Jazz, and I could play it any way how I want to. I could put distortion on it. Hold on. I can make this sound like this. it sounds very awesome with the distortion. And stuff like that. And hold on one second. I can play different kinds of dynamics, like it's very beautiful. Not a lot of fret buzz, and I've made adjustments to the neck, obviously, but basically the thing is very solid. It has a lot of mid range. If you could listen, like. So yeah, this thing is packing some heat, and for just $230, this is actually one powerful tool. Now, there is a downside to it. One thing I have to say is, since it's cheap, it's obviously going to have some small setbacks, but the humbuckers kind of resolve those problems. With the way how these humbuckers are configured, it has a very, it has a very thick sound. So it's obviously going to cut through a lot of mixes and stuff like that, and it's going to have a very strong stage presence too. I've always been a fan of the natural wood panels, like the Rickenbacker I want it to be the natural glow with no paint finish at all. And if it were to have a paint finish, I want the candy apple one. And as you can tell, I bought this because it looks kind of like a Rick, same headstock style and everything. One complaint is this neck here. Now, you don't see it, but this neck, I can wrap only my thumb and my index finger around it without ease and pretty much make it close to a fist. This neck is pretty thin, and I had one before this one, and I accidentally dropped it on my wall well, actually, let me show you. I actually dropped it on the wall over there before I got my, oh, sorry, hold on. Phone cameras. I dropped it on that wall, and it fell pretty hard on it when I accidentally put it the wrong way. And as soon as it fell, and it fell on that headstock, it just went right off. So that's one complaint. I wish this little section right here between the neck, and the headstock to be a bit thicker. But it's me as an owner to be much more careful in terms of playing in different, harmonics. And I could do some frictive roots and stuff like. It's a very solid instrument. I love it a lot. It's great for rock. It's great for electric dance music. Like. As you can tell, I gotta, really slow down and concentrate when I play. But anyway, for a 1-year bass review, I love this bass a bit. My only criticism, though, is that this bass is only as good as its amplifier. This amplifier is garbage, and I don't know if I can ever have a Marshall because I honestly don't have enough room in my house. So, obviously, it's not the bass itself, but if you want this bass to really shine, you gotta have like any kind of Marshall, maybe an orange cabinet, because that's when you can actually get those pretty beefier sounds. In fact, oh god damn it! Hold on. Sorry, I don't have a real camera. I just use my phone. In fact, one of the reasons why I play so aggressively with my two fingers is because this amplifier is garbage. So, if you really want to get, a style of bass playing, like playing rough, like getting some Geddy Lee, highly recommend a better room amp than what I got. This is a Harmony amp and it's garbage. But you know, aside from that, it does complement my rough playing. I can even play song. So yeah, it's basically a little side note. You gotta have a really good amp for this instrument because while it's powerful, it's only as good as its output device. So the Dean Edge 02, I'll give it a thumbs up. And when I do join a band, before I buy a Rickenbacker, hopefully one day if I'm actually lucky, with my financial ethics, I will most likely still be using this as my main bass because but the funny thing about a Rickenbacker comparing it to this is that to me the Rickenbacker it sounds fatter because of how its pickups work, but this one is pretty strong on its own. If anything, this one just sounds a bit muffled because of its configuration and how I'm playing. If I play close to the neck like this, like a John and Twistle, it still has that very muffled sound. And you know, since again, Geddy Lee and all them, I play sharply. I always find myself digging into my strings, trying to get that raspy kind of sound. But this bass isn't, you know, meant to be played raspily like that. It's very boomy, so it's kind of like a chill bass, like. So yeah. So my verdict of this is, if you want a bass that's great for grooving, any kind of smooth bass lines that's not full of strong attacks and stuff like that, but you want to have a presence, you got to get this beautiful goddess right here. This beautiful baby does everything. Even if I would attack it as hard as I can, it growls. This thing has some strong booming growls. If a little bit of a modest tip, but I do modify some basses sometimes. If you want some stronger growl, some snap, I would potentially buy one of those Lane Paul pickups, the ones that Flea uses for his for some of his Music Men, and I put it in the bridge right here because this is where all the beef and all the mud comes from. Especially when you're trying to get things like Jacko, those kind of sounds. That's where a lot of it comes from. Now, in terms of my playing style, since I play like a lot of Japanesey, a lot of lead bass, you know, stuff like that, a lot of Billy Sheehan, and I'm trying to learn how to do this. Trying to learn how to do piano style. This bass is solid for that since the sounds are very mellow. And even though I'm using swing bass roto strings, because in Twistle, Geddy Lee, it still sounds warm and not extremely bright like in your face where it cuts everybody off. So if you're into like mellow sounds, then this bass is for you. But in terms of how I play, I think a Fender Jazz or a Rickenbacker would be much better. Hell, maybe even a Walk, but again, no money. So I just made this review so I could show you how beautiful this instrument is. And honestly, even the cheap stuff can be better than the expensive stuff. So I hope you like this video. I will do a separate review on the shitty amplifier that I got to explain why I hate it and why I can't wait for the day I can get $1,000 to get a Marshall room amp. Anyway, bye. Yeah, I mean bye.